Good morning,
with a Schmedium T-shirt.
Good morning.
Right?
Don't hate.
That is it. No, I mean, like, look,
don't hate
Eric's
because
actually
you can't
62
wear
years
it.
old.
Okay.
Oh, I can.
Yeah, you can pull it off.
I can pull it off.
You're in pretty good shape for an old man.
You're ready for you going to the course afterwards. You're looking good today.
No, I may. I got a little bit of time. Actually, I got granddaddy duty after this. I'm going to pick up my granddaughter.
That's the best looking grandpa I've ever seen in my entire life, right? We think of grandpa, like, how good, I'm like,
I don't believe it.
It's you and
it's true.
Schlereth.
Trust me.
Actually, have you seen Schlereth's dad? Have you seen the photo of Schlereth's dad?
No, I haven't.
Schlereth's dad is like 77 years old. You got a picture of him like ripped. He looked better than both of us. It's crazy. And he's a great grandpa. Anyway, O.J. Simpson, parole hearing. You watched it. What was your reaction in watching it?
Well, I was shocked. That was my first time, as I told you yesterday, that was my first time ever being inside of a parole hearing. So I had this perception that it was going to be a guy come in and, try to humble himself and just sort of listen to what's being said, show remorse when you're answering your questions and, hoping that the people that you were talking to on the panel would, find a way to rule in your favor. What I saw was OJ being the OJ that I expect that we had always seen him be, and where he seemed bothered at times, where I'm going to tell you this is the way it is and this is how it should be, and I shouldn't, this should have never happened. That's kind of like the attitude he had. So that shocked me.
Do you think, we talked about this a lot yesterday on Speak for Yourself, do you think this is the last we see of O.J. Simpson? Like, he takes parole in October and disappears?
He's going to disappear after he gets some cheese from this. He's going to get some money off of it. Because there are just too many people that are going to want to hear the book or hear his side of, there's always going to be someone that can put out a story where this is OJ's side of everything. You've seen the documentary and all of these things. Well, they didn't talk to me about it. Let me tell you my side of it. So once he makes his money, be it a book, a TV show, or whatever, then I think he's just going to go to the golf course and disappear.
He's always operated in this alternate reality, but I also think the alternate reality he must be operating in is as if we didn't see the documentary. Now, look, I will grant you that while it's on a major sports network and it did win an Academy Award, everyone who watched the parole hearing or the highlights of the parole hearing did not see the documentary. But I think OJ has been far more exposed 9 years later than he was before he went in jail. Is that fair?
That's fair. Things have changed. The understanding, just the general public's understanding of DNA evidence is so different now as opposed to when the trial was going on in '94. So there's a lot more information that's been pulled out, the behind-the-scenes conversations with people that were directly involved with him, his friends, people that were directly involved with the Brown family. So all of those things and all the other victims. So yeah, there's a different. Everyone had their opinions before, for whatever reason. But there's a different opinion, I think, now because there's been more information.
Let's first kind of dial back. If you're, summertime, sometimes you might have missed commentary or things said. Let's not take for granted that not everybody heard what Mike Vick said on Speak for Yourself on Fox Sports 1 about Colin Kaepernick and some advice that he had for Colin in trying to get back in the good graces of the league.
First thing we got to get Colin to do is cut his hair. Listen, I'm not up here to try to be politically correct, but, even if he puts cornrows in it, I don't think he should represent himself, in that way in terms of, just the hairstyle. Just go clean cut. Why not? You're already dealing with a lot of controversy surrounding this issue.
So, look, there was a ton of pushback. You had an issue with it at the time, didn't you not?
With
Mike Vick's comment.
No, the issue that I said, the issue I had with it was the fact that I don't believe it to be true that a haircut or an image change is going to affect his ability to get into the league. I don't think that's the thing.
It couldn't hurt, though.
Well, just because it can't hurt doesn't mean it's going to help. And that's where I'm saying it's beyond that. I told you before sitting on this couch, the narrative is out of his hands now. It's kind of like what Jeremy said. That's what I've been trying to say. Cap is not a bad player. He's not a bad locker room guy. He's not a distraction himself. The distraction is going to come from the media you're going to be asked questions and you're going to have to comment about it. And look what just happened to Michael Vick. When you make a comment,
right,
you're either pro-Cap, you're against Cap, and either way you have to deal with it. That's the issue.
You mentioned what happened to Michael Vick. Of course, it's become a big hot topic, not just our network, other networks, social media as well. So Mike went on the Dan Patrick Show on Fox Sports Radio and walked back those comments.
I think at the end of the day, what I said, I should have never said. I think it was taken out of context in regards to what I was, trying to convey. But I only want to help Kaepernick, and I'm not a general manager. I'm not the guy that makes the decisions on getting them signed. And I'm truly sorry for what I said. I think I should have used a better choice of words. Obviously we all know his afro has nothing to do with him being signed, and I wasn't, trying to relay that message.
Well, look, I started by thinking when he said out of context didn't make sense, but I actually believe that most people didn't hear the full context of what he said, right? Because he did say, and he agreed with you, that his play actually he disagreed with you. He said his play is what's keeping him out of the NFL. You don't believe his play is what's keeping him out?
No, I don't think it's his play, because there are guys who can't play as well that are in the NFL. So I think it's a combination of all the things involved. Because of his stance, you couple that with the fact that you aren't playing at the highest level, then I don't have to deal with it. Again, people keep coming at me saying, you know what, you got to understand, it is corporate America, and you have certain rules, and you have to do that. No, the sports are not like that.
Yeah, but I continue to disagree that being quarterback of an NFL team is like that. It just is.
Wait, hold on. He was the quarterback of an NFL team.
Correct.
And he did have his tats, and he did have his long hair, and he was doing those things. But now, if you're not playing at a high level, it would be tolerated if he's playing at a higher level.
Is it fair to contextualize his hairstyle as being perceived as like an activist hairstyle? Is it fair to believe that there are people that perceive it that way?
Yeah, I'm sure you can, because that's the hairstyle that he is wearing as of now, and because of that, it's perceived about that.
Once he started protesting, right? It's like there's an act of defiance in it. And I think what Mike Vick's saying,
I think his hair started growing before he started.
Well, he always had long hair when he had cornrows, but now by picking it out, there became kind of an act of defiance. This became kind of part of his stance. And I think what Mike Vick may not have articulated well enough, and I feel bad that he felt like he had to apologize for it and walk it back, because it's his opinion. And he has been down the road of being out of the NFL and trying every way. And I think and you can speak more to Black America, obviously, than I can, but it's met with, hey, he's saying you got to sell out in order to get back in the NFL.
Doug, I'm not going to try to speak for everyone in America who's black. Yeah. What I do believe Mike Vick was trying to do and trying to say is, let me give you some big brotherly advice. This is what helped for me, and that's why I said I'm not upset with Mike. Like, there's some people that seem to be upset with Mike. I don't think he's trying to tell him to sell out or anything like that. He's just saying this, when something works for you, he was in dire straits. Right. He got some advice, and at the end of the day, he got back into the league. So he's believing that image change is what got him back into the league. I personally think it was his play. Mike could still play, and he was still perceived to be a guy who could play at a very high level. That's what Cap doesn't have going for him right now. The perception is that he can't play.
Right.
If they thought he could play, none of this would matter.
No, I understand, but there's also a certain dress for the job that you want, and I think that also could have been part of the discussion, and instead it kind of spiraled out of control.
Dress for the job that you want, but the job that he's after, it's entertainment. It's a different dress code.
It's not when you're a quarterback. I agree with you in the NFL, but if you look throughout all of the quarterbacks in the NFL, like there's just a certain decorum. And you said, like,
if you look back through all the quarterbacks in the NFL in the history, there are very few black quarterbacks.
But if it was Chris Bird,
Donovan McNabb had cornrows. Donovan McNabb had he wasn't said
go to cornrows. That's a more clean cut look than the afro. That was actually part of the commentary, which got lost in it.